Unbelievable. Gwendolyn Brown just struck a match and threw it directly into the powder keg that is the Brown family history. In an unexpected move, she's dropped what could be the biggest bombshell in Sister Wives history, and it's not rumor. It's not hearsay. It's cold hard receipts. In a shocking new video, Gwen discloses what she claims are official property records, revealing that her dad, Cody Brown, secretly sold the tract of Coyote Pass land that was intended for her and her mom, Christine. And worse still, he didn't even sell it, he purportedly used the funds to line his own pockets and Robyns. We've read the papers. We know who purchased the property, and what we're seeing is a tale of betrayal so profound, it may destroy the last vestiges of this broken family. You have to drop what you're doing right now, because what we're about to dive into is not just drama. This is real. This is public record. And it's coming to light thanks to a daughter who's clearly reached her limit. What Gwen just did, it's nothing less than blowing a financial bomb within the Brown family. And the aftershocks, they're already manifesting themselves throughout the Sister Wives universe. She's revealed what she says is irrefutable evidence, records that indicate Cody sold the ground that was promised to Christine, the ground that was to be their part of the dream, and he did it all behind the scenes. Within seconds, we'll take you through each and every detail of evidence that she presented, from the deeds to the dates, to the secret buyer's name. But let this be clear, this is not merely a land contract gone awry. This is a broken promise, a betrayal, and it could quite possibly be the undoing of all that Cody worked so desperately to keep concealed. This is a huge story. It's playing out in real time, and if you want the kind of in-depth coverage that nobody else is providing, the kind that cuts through the fluff and straight to the truth, make sure you're subscribed to Sister Wives Twist. Like this video, ring the bell and stick with us, because when the legal ramifications come, you'll be glad you did. Now, let's set a moment ago, because in order to truly get the gravity of this betrayal, you have to turn the clock back to what Coyote Pass was initially. For years, this land wasn't dirt and trees. It was Cody's dream, his legacy, so-called. He envisioned a picture of harmony, 4 houses, 1 large pond, children's laughter, wives side by side in happiness. It was to be their last destination, where they'd at long last construct something permanent. And he didn't talk in abstractions. He identified specific pieces of ground, apportioning them out to the wives. It was real, it was holy. Christine's plot was her vow, the house she'd never known, the future she'd hoped for her kids and for herself. But that dream, folks, it never materialized. The property has remained vacant all these years, a dusty testament to promises never to be fulfilled. In the meantime, Cody and Robyn reside in luxury at their million-dollar mansion, far removed from the shattered dreams strewn about Coyote Pass. And now, courtesy of Gwen, perhaps we finally know why. It all began yesterday. Gwen shared a mysterious picture on her Instagram story, a single wolf watching over a sheep, captioned, "Some shepherds do not protect the flock, they fleece it." Later, within 2 hours, she posted a 15-minute video on her YouTube channel. The title, "The Truth About My Land." She's composed in the video but fire in her eyes. You can see it, this is more than land. It's about trust. It's about justice. She mentions she had a gut sensation something was amiss, so she and a buddy started digging up public records in Coconino County, Arizona. And what did they find? It shook her to the core. She didn't merely state it, she demonstrated it. On camera, she scrolls through the records. Actual records, names, numbers, signatures. And now we're going to take you through them step by step. Stick with us. It's about to get even more real. This is the proof. On her video, Gwen queued up a simplified plat map of Coyote Pass, and that's where the actual tale starts to get told. Imagine it, 5 pieces of land. 2 big ones marked A and B and then 3 little ones C, D, and E. Now take a close look at parcel D, just 2.42 acres. That's the one. That's the spot Cody Brown himself indicated on Sister Wives, the one he publicly assigned to Christine. A location where hopes were supposed to be constructed. A commitment made. And now, as it turns out, a commitment broken. Because what Gwen revealed next was a bombshell. This Coco Crew is the smoking gun, a reproduction of a quitclaim deed, ripped right out of the Coconino County Recorder's office. Gwen doesn't merely wave it around, she reads it, line by frightening line, and the image it creates is unsettling. Let's dissect. Point 1. The Grand Tour. The sellers listed were Cody Wynn Brown and Robyn Alice Brown, not the Brown Family Trust. Not plural marriage, just Cody and Robyn. This is big because, as fans know, Cody divorced Mary years ago and lawfully wed Robyn, so when it comes to real estate and documents, it's always the two of them's names appearing side by side. Point number 2, the property. The legal definition in the deed is precisely identical with parcel D word. For word, this is not a nebulous lot. This is the lot. The one Cody vowed to Christine, the one that promised Gwen a future. There's no room to wiggle here, it's that land. Point 3, the date. Here's where things get even worse. The sale didn't occur last week, or even last month. It happened 6 months ago, half a year. That's how long Cody and Robyn supposedly kept this secret under wraps, acting as if everything was okay, while that 2.42 acres silently vanished from the family heritage. Point 4, the purchaser. Now, who would desire a solitary piece of land out in the middle of what amounts to a failed family venture? The name on the listing is not a human, it's a business. Flagstaff Mountain View LLC. Gwen candidly admits she has no idea who they are, but a cursory search reveals it's a holding company. A shell, probably, to conceal the buyer's identity. Was it a developer, a quiet neighbor? We don't know. But the anonymity tells us something. This deal wasn't only a secret, it was intended to remain that way. So we have the what, the where, and the when. But the question that's haunting everyone now is why? Why sell that land? And where did the money go? That's where Gwen raises the bar and drops what may be the most incriminating bombshell so far. Because she didn't stop at the sale. She dug deeper. And what she uncovered, it's breathtaking. Public financial documents show that exactly 1 week after Parcel D was sold, a significant debt on Cody and Robyn's house was fully repaid. We're discussing a lien, maybe a second mortgage, perhaps a home equity loan, but here's what we do know. Parcel D sold for $190,000. The debt that was paid off just days afterward, $175,000. Let that sink in. Gwen is claiming, with proof to support it, that Cody and Robyn sold property that had been promised to Christine and her kids, and then spent almost $200,000 of that money paying for their own mansion to be debt-free. This isn't favoritism. This isn't dysfunction. If this is true, it's a brazen betrayal. A financial slight so intentional, so calculated, it transcends family melodrama. It begins to appear like exploitation. It's as if they took Christine's portion of family destiny and what did they do? Used it to plug the holes in the sinking ship that is Cody and Robyn's reality. The pond, the 4 houses, the unity, all smoke and mirrors. The family pot, illusion. Because when it all came down to brass tacks, there was only one agenda: defend Cody and Robyn's lifestyle, even if it meant pulling the rug from under everyone else. And the internet is paying attention. Hard. Gwen's video, more than 1 million views within 24 hours. The comment boxes are overflowing. Fans are enraged. And the truth, it appears, is finally beginning to surface. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. The comment section, it's an inferno, a firestorm of Gwen's support and outrage at Cody. And then Christine. She didn't require an explanation that took long. Just a picture of her and Gwen standing together, captioned with a thunderclap. My daughter, my warrior, my truth-teller, I could not be more proud. She didn't need to name names. She didn't need to explain. Her statement was clear as day. She is on her daughter's side. But Janelle, meanwhile, the unflappable pragmatist, has remained silent. But silence speaks louder than words ever will. She's probably speaking with attorneys now, considering her options. Because what Gwen revealed doesn't just impact Christine's portion. It strikes the entire Coyote Pass land, including Janelle's future, her investment, her legacy. As for Cody and Robyn, not a word, no statement, no denial. But conveniently, a source appeared this morning, whispering into a tabloid's ear, spinning the same tired defense. It was a strategic family business decision. The money went to cover taxes. Gwen misunderstood the situation. She's doing it for clicks. It's the oldest move in the gaslighting playbook. You're wrong, you're overreacting. You're just being dramatic. But here's the thing, the documents don't lie. The timeline doesn't lie. And the $175,000 mortgage payoff doesn't lie. They can spin the tale any way they want, but paper trail speaks the truth. And now the truth is out. Because Gwen didn't just reveal a sleazy land sale. She laid bare the whole moral meltdown at the center of the Brown family dynasty. The secret skeleton, the money web, the emotional manipulation. She stripped it all away, with nothing but public documents, her voice, and a YouTube show. She battled secrets with facts. She employed the arsenal of the contemporary world to combat a system founded on silence. And she didn't do it for the fans alone. She did it for her brothers, for the wives still bound in the deception, and perhaps most of all for herself. The vision of Coyote Pass, it's no more. And Gwen Brown, she just gave its obituary. Picturing the evidence, Is this a vicious move on Cody and Robyn's part? What should Janelle do next? And what legal repercussions might come crashing down from this? Let your thoughts, your hypotheses, and your defense of Gwen go in the comments below. Because this case, it's far from finished. Not even close. We're going to continue to follow the aftermath, the legal developments, the responses from all corners of the family. So be sure you're subscribed. You won't want to miss a single report. But before we're done, there's one more shadow hiding in this tale, one more voice we've never heard. Every epic drama needs a ghost. A silent presence whose absence is as much of a force as any presence. In Robyn Brown's tale, that ghost has always been her ex-husband, David Preston Jessup. For 15 years, he was the bad guy in someone else's book, the man she allegedly fled from, the reason behind why Cody had to come in and be the hero. While the cameras were rolling and the story was being told, David remained silent. Not a peep. For more than a decade, he hung back, observing his marriage, his history, even his kids become a part of a narrative while he was non-existent. Until now. Because tonight, the ghost is finally going to talk. We can now verify, only, that David Preston Jessup has had a no-holds-barred, primetime television sit-down with a major network. And for the very first time, after all those years of silence, he's speaking out about his version of events. And he's not merely spilling. He's coming with receipts. What he reveals is more than just personal, it's explosive. A truth bomb so massive, it threatens to shatter everything Robyn and Cody have worked so hard to craft. The narrative, the image, the myth. We have the inside scoop. Why he's speaking now, what finally pushed him to come forward, and how Cody and Robyn are scrambling behind the scenes, trying to brace for the impact. The quiet is ended. Reckoning has come. Okay, let's introduce you to the man whose silence has finally been broken. The first question on everyone's mind is, why now? Why would David Jessup, the man who has avoided the spotlight for over a decade, suddenly decide to step forward? According to sources close to the interview, the answer isn't what you'd expect. It's not about fame. It's not about money. It comes down to one thing: righteous indignation. And the provocation. Hard to believe, but it was Cody Brown himself. Jessup allegedly settled in to watch the most recent seasons of Sister Wives, and what he witnessed was nothing less than horrific. He saw Cody yell at his own boys, Gabe and Garrison. He witnessed the emotional neglect, the callous brush-offs, the constant demands for respect from children who were pleading to be loved, and that's when it struck him. One of the interview sources says that was Jessup's moment of collapse. He explained to the interviewer, "I sat there and watched this man, the man my kids were taught was better than me, treat his own blood with cruelty and disrespect. And I thought, this is the man who took my place. This is the hero of the story." The hypocrisy was too great. His kids, now grown adults, needed to know the truth, not the fantasy, not the television version, the actual story of where they originated. And let's be real, this is not about revenge. This is not some ex-spouse with a grudge trying to create drama over a dead marriage. This is a father coming forward to reclaim his place in the tale that defined his children's lives. Dayton, Aurora, Brianna. They've been raised within a story, a narrative in which their birth father was a person to be sympathized with, or even worse, forgot. A narrative that was created by Cody and Robyn, shared on national television, and reiterated over and over. David Jessup has remained quiet all these years, but quietly he was observing, and quietly he was amassing emails, text messages, legal filings, proof that he says supports every single word of what he is about to disclose. This is not some sensational YouTube confession or celebrity leak. Jessup decided to speak out with a high-profile, mainstream reporter, someone who had credibility and clout, someone who could promise that his story wouldn't be dismissed as rumor. For the first time, David Jessup speaks about his experiences in his own words. And it's a straight shot at the foundation of all that the Brown family has established their reputation upon. Sources indicate that the interview starts off with a straightforward, pointed question. Robyn Brown has painted her marriage to you as a struggle. She suggested that it was something she needed to get away from. What do you have to say to that? And just like that, Jessup begins to unravel 15 years of narrative piece by piece. He reportedly delivers 3 bombshells in the interview, each one contradicting what we've been led to believe for years. But the most explosive, it hits at the heart of Robyn's entire origin story. From early on, the show and Robyn herself have intimated, occasionally in tears, that her initial marriage was a frightening, controlling, emotionally somber one. The terminology was imprecise, but the suggestions were pointed. She drew a picture of a home she needed to flee. David Jessup isn't afraid to do the same. He turns that narrative on its head. He says he produces emails, letters from friends and family, and character attestations from back then, all of them in agreement. Their marriage was not perfect, but it was not abusive. They, like any couple, had issues. Highs and lows, miscommunication. But the vision of a threatening, oppressive household simply does not fit the facts, according to him. He says it was redone, reframed, to provide Robyn with a fresh beginning, to provide justification for her being a part of the Brown clan, to portray Cody as her hero. And now, with his proof in hand and a national following behind him, David Jessup is prepared to reclaim that narrative. And if what he alleges pans out, this could be the start of a whole new accounting for the sister wives world. And it's only just started. Then, David Jessup makes a bombshell so mind-blowing, it flips everything on its head. He asserts the largest cause of tension in his marriage to Robyn wasn't control. It wasn't power. It was money. More precisely, Robyn's runaway spending and increasing debt. He accuses her of having a habit, piling up huge credit card charges, and that money woes were an ever-present, relentless tension within their household. This is how Jessup describes it. What Robyn would later call control was actually his effort to keep the family on its feet financially, a budget for the family, a plan, stability. Here is how one of the production sources framed it. He doesn't just deny her story, he reframes it. What she called control, he calls responsibility. And in a flash, the story reverses. What was once a story of fleeing emotional abuse is now another tale altogether, the tale of a woman running possibly not from terror, but from potential economic repercussions. Not a denial, but a blow to the core of Robyn's victim claim. And then there is the second bombshell. We've all heard the story. The adoption of Dayton, Aurora, and Brina was Cody's ultimate act of love, a noble sacrifice. He legally married Robyn, divorced Mary, and stepped in to become the father figure these kids needed. But David Jessup, he tells a heartbreakingly different story. He claims he didn't want to relinquish his parental rights. He was pressured, manipulated. He allegedly brings forward messages and letters from back then, demonstrating he was a participating father, sending child support, staying in contact, attempting to keep up a relationship from afar, and how they came at him on both sides. Then, legally, custody battles he couldn't pay for, boulders of paperwork, the implication that battling would simply expose the kids to a war. Then the emotional blackmail. Robyn, he relates, said things such as, "It's confusing for the children to have two fathers. This is best, they require one stable home." And that's when his voice cracks. As sources tell, he becomes teary-eyed, crying at the interview saying, "They made me feel like if I truly loved my children, I would let them go. They used my love for them as a weapon against me. It was the most painful decision of my life, and I was led to believe it was the only way to protect their happiness." It redefines the adoption, not as a selfless act of salvation, but as a calculated move, a legal seizure of another family's children. And Cody, no longer a hero, but a man who facilitated the erasure of a father from his own children's lives. And it doesn't end there. Jessup asserts that even through their time together as a married couple, Robyn had already been interested in plural marriage. It wasn't something Cody taught her, it was something she'd already incorporated into her understanding. Both families originated from the same fundamentalist community. Plural marriage wasn't unfamiliar. It was a part of the cultural history. He claims Robyn had already indicated she was interested in the plural lifestyle. And when she met Cody Brown, a guy on the verge of national television stardom, she saw something else as well. A way out, a way up. He doesn't call it an affair, but strongly suggests there was an emotional involvement between Robyn and Cody prior to her marriage to Jessup's dissolution. Her head was turned, he is quoted as saying. She saw a man on the brink of stardom, a leader, someone who could provide her stature and exposure I could never provide. The show, the family, the lifestyle, it was all she ever dreamed of. I don't think I ever had a chance. And just like that, the image of Robyn as the shy, reluctant fourth wife, swept up in a love story, shatters. Instead, we see something else. A woman with ambition, with a plan, who knew what she wanted and how to get it. These three claims, financial recklessness, a coerced adoption, and calculated ambition, don't just poke holes in the sister wives narrative. They blow it apart. And when the interview is broadcast, it doesn't just make the front page, it goes viral, the web erupts. Justice for David Jessup. Robyn's receipts. They begin trending globally. And the backlash for the remaining two standing, Cody and Robyn, is unlike anything they've ever experienced. Because this time, the ghost has spoken, and the truth cannot be silenced. For the first time in 15 years, the drama is no longer controlled by Robyn's tears or Cody's rage. The drama has escaped their grasp, and what comes next is pandemonium. The explosion hits immediately. Deep, far-reaching, devastating. It occurs in 3 shockwaves. Before the interview even goes to air, Cody and Robyn are said to be in full-blown panic mode. Their initial response: ring the lawyers, quick. In a matter of hours, a formal statement is issued, loud, defensive, and full of anger. It goes something like, "We are appalled and disgusted by the malicious, defamatory, and false comments made by Mr. Jessup. His obvious attempt to cash in on our family's celebrity is pathetic. These are desperate lies of a bitter man. We are considering all legal avenues. But the thing about lawsuits is that in order to prevail in one, you need to establish that the other guy is fibbing. And David Jessup didn't come with sentiments, he arrived with data, receipts, papers, timelines, emails, facts, evidence. Cody and Robyn, all they've got is a narrative of events that's already been publicly disputed by members of their own family repeatedly. And if they sue, they're risking exposing the door to legal discovery, and along with it, financial information and private messages they might never want the world to know. That is, in so many words, it's not a power play, it's a bluff, a desperate one. But as the courtroom drama erupts publicly, there is a quieter, more agonizing war being waged in private, within the Brown family itself. Dayton, Aurora, Brina. They're not kids anymore. They're grown now, old enough to be able to watch this interview, read the papers, hear the emotion in their biological father's voice. And before you know it, they're in the middle of 2 tales, the one they grew up with, and the one now emerging from the man they were instructed to forget. What do you do when the story of your life you've thought you knew for so long begins to fall apart? When the truth is double-faced, and you must decide which one to believe. This is not merely a drama. It is a possible identity crisis, one that might forever change their relationships with Robyn and Cody. And then, of course, there are the other Brown children, the OG-13. They're seeing it too, and what they're seeing in Jessup's experience feels like vindication, validation. All of the suspicions they ever had about Robyn, her manipulation, her financial problems, her power over Cody, suddenly validated by someone who knew her prior to sister wives even being born. This interview becomes a rallying cry, a common truth. Christine and Janelle, in particular, view Jessup's story as a reflection of their own, the financial uncertainty, the emotional control, the silence they were to accept. Now it's all on the table. For them, there is no question anymore. They weren't exaggerating, they weren't dreaming, they were correct. And this is the coup de grace. Cody and Robyn's public persona, their brand, has been constructed out of image, out of perception, out of a narrative skillfully crafted for over a decade. But now, that narrative has been rewritten in real time, and it's tragic. Cody, who was once set up as the honorable patriarch, the savior, the guardian, is now a villain. Not only a man who married another's wife, but a man who aided in erasing a father from his own children. Robyn, who was once the quiet, misunderstood wife, the woman who would never quite fit in, is remade as the mastermind, a planner, a weaver of emotional story, someone who knew what she needed, and manipulated the system and the people around her to make it happen. And everything is different. They lose the one thing they can't live without, the court of public opinion. Sympathy disappears, replaced by outrage, disgust, betrayal. And when your entire living depends on a reality TV show, that's not just a PR crisis. It's a death sentence. TLC is now living a nightmare. Why continue to air a program built on 2 individuals who have been so thoroughly discredited, so publicly humiliated? Advertisers run, ratings change. The network is left with an impossible choice. Do we continue to feed a story everyone now knows is false? David Jessup did more than share his truth. He ended an era. He didn't bring down the Brown family's house of stories. He burned it to the ground, and then salted the earth so nothing ever could there. The fiction is lost, and in its wake, only the truth remains. The ghost has spoken, and his voice has reduced the walls of that empire to rubble. So now, I ask you, what do you think was the most devastating revelation from this interview? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And thanks for stopping by with me here on Sister Wives Twist, where silence always ends, and the truth always finds its voice.